pjnet.tv. It is 9:30 on the East Coast. Time for part 2 on this Tuesday evening, July 28th. We are running bumper. We have background ready. We have Del Didway standing by. We will switch to our studio number 8 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, good evening and welcome to pjnet.tv part 2. Thank you for your patience and sorry about the technical problems we had in the earlier segment. It seemed as if there's something wrong between us and YouTube, but it was a technical problem, and I believe we have been able to get that corrected since that time. So the show must go on, as they say. It is Tuesday night, and every Tuesday night about this time, we have a little sit-down, get-together chat, fireside chat with a real fireball and opinion influencer out there, and his name is Del Didway. And he blogs at deldidway.com. He comments on current affairs. He is a grandfather, a husband, a writer, author, sportscaster. What else are you, Del?
I'm bored all the time.
Yeah, your life is really, really boring. You have been a whirlwind, a tornado of book production over the past couple of years that we've been getting together here. And now you, as if you had not set the bar high enough, you raise it another notch with not one book, but two.
Yeah, we're excited about that. I mean, we're having 2 book launches here in the second week of August 10th, and we're excited about that. It's we just wish there was football, but right now we don't know that because that's what the books are based on. They're not about football. They're just about 2 well-known college programs, and we give a little history about each program and some great plays and some great moments, and try to tie in a nice devotional out of each chapter. So,
well, something that I didn't realize, and of course I am not far away from the great state of Alabama, so the well-known rivalry between Alabama and Auburn is nothing out of the ordinary for me. But what I did not know, you apparently, of course, did your research. The Iron Bowl goes back a long time, and the first one was played in February. Really?
Yeah. Hey, that's according to history books. So, I wasn't there. So,
I remember very well. Several years ago, I was watching the Iron Bowl, and one of my wife's nephews was in the house, and I forget his age. I'm going to just guess around 10 or 12. And he observed in the stands all of these poster picture, signs, of Bear Bryant. Mm-hmm. And he asked, well, who is this Bear Bryant that they keep talking about? And I told him, the great legacy of Coach Bear Bryant. He said, is he still alive today? And my answer was, kinda. That is, you are on, you are in a minefield here. You are in places that angels fear to tread. You are very familiar with the Ohio-Michigan rivalry.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've been to that several times.
How do you think that compares?
I get that question a lot, and I have a lot of discussion. I've never been to the Alabama Auburn game. I've never been to an LSU Alabama game. I can only talk on the Ohio State Michigan game, and I know people who've been to both, and they tell me that there's nothing like Ohio State Michigan.
Really?
But I'm just going on what they say and my experiences. So, they talk about the tailgating. Well, I'm not there to tailgate. I mean, that's part of it. It's part of the experience.
Yeah.
But I'm there to watch a ball game. And so if you're going for the game, what I always hear is up here, the Ohio State Michigan game, and because a lot of times there's something riding on the line too. But everybody says, "Oh, you got to go to the Iron Bowl because there's great tailgating." Well, I can go to Texas Roadhouse and get great food. So, I mean, I'm sure it's an awesome experience. I was hoping, to go this year because of the book. But I'm sure it's thrilling and wonderful in its own way, and to their fans, I'm sure there's nothing like it. So I have to respect that. But again, I'm coming from the Buckeye State and Big Ten football, so. What I learned in doing a lot of research at Alabama and Auburn, and I can see the history. I can see why there's intense rivalries. And a lot of times the rivalries aren't so much with the players anymore as they used to be, but more with the fans. And it's more with the media. The media loves to hype it up, so they'll have people watch them and watch their pregame shows and watch the games. But in years past, in doing the research, that's when the rivalries were heated. Amongst the players, and nowadays it's just not the case. It's more media driven, it's more fan driven, and it's it gives them a really good justification to go spend $600-700 on a ticket to watch the game. Hey, I'm going to go to the Iron Bowl. Well, great. That's fantastic. So,
football in particular, and I assume it's true of other sports. I don't know, but football. Has a way of stirring the American public and influencing the culture like nothing I've ever seen. For example, I would ask you the question, how much is Michigan-Ohio State talked about outside of football season in just common conversation?
All the time.
All the time.
You're not even allowed down here in Ohio to use the M. It's Ishigan, supposed to be Ishigan. You're not supposed to say the M word. So it's Ishigan, or they call it the team up north. So they don't even call it thing. I can't do that now because we just had this book published, Michigan Motivations, by my with my agent Kyle and I. So I can't. I'm no longer. I can't do that anymore. So it's talked about from the next day, the day after the game. It's talked about, and people banter back and forth. I, for one, and I think I'm in the oddball out. I think it's more entertaining and fun. Some people can't see the fun in it, and they take it way too serious. Way too serious. I mean, I've seen fist fights at these games, and I've seen people pelted and beaten up over a ball game, and I just can't get into that.
On season and off season, and this is
Yes.
it reminds me of the Marine Corps and the Army and the rivalry between the branches of our service, because I've seen barroom brawls break out over that. Well, okay, those are soldiers, they're fighters, they've had a lot to drink, I kind of get that. But what gets me is the people identify with this, okay? I'm a Gator, or I'm a Seminole, or I'm a, it reminds me, you did the research. Please tell me the answer.
Maybe.
There's the Auburn Tigers, and then there's this War Eagle thing. Which are they?
Well, the War Eagle is like the slogan, like Roll Tide or Go Bucks and Go Blue. War Eagle. I did a chapter on that. I explained that in the book. I did a whole chapter on War Eagle.
Okay, because it's kind of like in both teams, like the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, when you think about a mascot, for a football, there's a couple that have gotten me. The Alabama Crimson Tide and the Miami, get this, Dolphins. Flipper, are you kidding? I mean, why not the Barracudas or the Sharks? Or, normally you try to find something that portrays aggression.
Well, I go out shark fishing when I go to Florida a lot. And if they don't like for you to have dolphins hanging around your boat. You know why? Because dolphins kill sharks.
They're natural enemies. But dolphins are, what I'm saying, they're not a fearsome animal.
Dolphins kill sharks.
I know, Dale. I get that.
That's why.
But Flipper.
Flipper can kill Jaws. So which one do you want around?
Okay. Why not Barracuda?
I've caught a barracuda. They're pretty daggone mean.
You know what I hate about barracudas? When you've caught a fish, you got them on the line, and all of a sudden the line goes slack.
They eat it.
You have half a fish and it's dead.
I had a barracuda on the line and a shark bit it in half. So I pulled it in the head one time. So anyway, but the rivalries are great. Obviously, I mean, I reminisced about some of them that I enjoyed. Obviously, and I tried to touch different sports, but the Ali Frazier matchups were legendary. And back when football was really football, you had the Cowboys and you had Bradshaw against Staubach and. And then in basketball, when you had real patriotic athletes playing basketball, not the sissies that are playing today, you had Bird and Magic who revitalized the entire league. There would be no NBA if it wasn't for Magic and Bird. There would have been no Michael Jordan. There would have been nothing because those two saved the NBA because it was dying.
Really?
Oh, if you watched NBA games in the 77, 78, even with Dr. J, the league, you were fortunate to see half the stands filled. And there was a lot of talk about the NBA struggles. Then Magic and Bird had this, he was Indiana and he was Michigan State, Indiana State, Michigan State. But those two, when they had a huge following, and then when they went on separate ends of the country, people followed that, and they literally saved the NBA. So.
Well, it amazes me, and I don't know if now's a good time, but I guess it is because it came up. The NFL has survived. Originally there was the American Football League and the National Football League, and those were separate organizations. They survived that. In fact, it gave birth to what has traditionally been the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. They survived the World Football League. They survived the charter. They were originally a non-profit, and only recently, I believe, they have changed their status. But they've been a non-profit organization from get-go. They have survived crisis after crisis after crisis. I think they're done.
I think they're going to take a big hit. I don't know if they'll be done. I think they're going to pay a huge price, and I think they're going to learn a lesson. And when some of these players won't be getting their $70 million, I mean, Joe Burrow finally signed today with the Bengals, huge contract, 4 years, $34 million. I'm happy for him. Who knows if that'll continue or not?
But can he cash the check? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. So I don't know how they'll do. We'll wait and see how this year goes. But I know they're going to lose a lot. And folks say that right now. I mean, I believe you, and I believe some other folks. I'm done. But when it's Sunday afternoon and they're bored, they flip the game on. They'll have their loyals come back, but I think they'll take a big punch in the mouth. I think there'll be some damage.
Well, they're fighting two fronts here. We've got the COVID-19 at best uncertainty, and then you've got a polarized political environment. They are facing both at the same time. That's a two-front war. That's not a good recipe.
No, and it's a self-inflicted wound on the political end. They asked for it, so you can't really complain about it. I mean, you can't really feel sorry for these folks. I know some actors are complaining how much money they're losing, and that's a shame. So we'll wait and see about how they. I love what Mike Ditka said, yesterday. It was a breath of fresh air. He'll face backlash. One of the greatest
and
coaches
he
out
won't
there.
Care.
One of the toughest men out there. Well beloved in Chicago. Let's see what happens, because these thugs, I don't call them protest. They're not protesting. They're criminals. They will turn on whoever. It doesn't matter who you are or what status you are. You saw what happened to the mayor out in Portland. He stands with these folks. He came out and I support you. They were calling for that guy's head. They were after him. So they have no allegiance to nobody. They eat their own. So there's no loyalty there. They don't care who you are. They will try to destroy you. So I hope Mike Ditka, I have more respect. I had a whole bunch of respect for him to begin with. I don't see how I can have any more. I just applaud what he said. When Jim Brown came out a few months ago and said, I'll never kneel. I mean, he had his people turn on him. They called him a sellout. They called him a whole bunch of names because he says, I believe in America. So we're facing a movement I've never seen. I don't think you've ever seen. At least when America fought the Nazis, you knew what was going on there. Mm-hmm. Who knows what these people want except utter destruction? I don't know what they want except just brutality and unlawfulness and violence, and that's all they understand.
Apparently. Your blog did a good job of what JD in the chat room would call bringing it home. You blog about sports. You have political opinions, but anytime that your name is attached to something, you bring it home with a spiritual truth.
Well, I try to motivate and try to inspire and encourage as much as I can, and give a little lesson sometimes. I think Becky's out there. Becky does her blogs are just incredible. I mean, so I learn a lot, from her and JD and Rachel and everybody out there. So I have takeaways, but I try to show how we have rivalries too. I mean, as believers, we have rivalries, and we ought not to. There shouldn't be any. You should not be trying to do anything for yourself or anything to glorify yourself or tear down anybody. A lot of people do that. I've seen that in the. You've probably seen it. I know I've seen it, trying to tear people down. So, and there's ways to get over that rivalry and have rivalries are good because they make you better. Competition's good when it's in the right perspective. I mean, when Bird and Magic played against each other, the first 6 or 7 years, they hated each other. They couldn't stand to talk to each other. Then as they got older and met, for a fact, their friendship formed when they went to film a commercial together. Mm-hmm. And they actually got to know each other. They played against each other in college, and it wasn't good. They didn't like each other. They despised each other playing in the NBA Finals. And then they met personally and had time to spend time together, and they developed a friendship. And rivalries can lead to that. So rivalries shouldn't be bad. I shouldn't have to go to the Ohio State Michigan game and watch people in the stands fist fight, which I've seen. I've seen fist fights at the Browns Bills game. It's just ridiculous how fans behave. So and there's ways to do that. There's ways to prepare. Obviously read the Bible every day. Try to read the Bible every day. You don't have to read a gazillion chapters. Read a few verses if you can. Read a chapter. That's what I try to do. If it's long, I kind of break it up. Pray every day. Go to church. I mean, you can't. A ball player can't win if he doesn't show up on the field. So I take church as our field. So go to church because you can't get in the huddle and then not show up there. To play. So that's just my opinion on that. So that's what I try to encourage people to do. Good rivalries make everybody better.
Well, the thing about rivalries is that is basically the hyperbole of competition. It's ramped up, and it has often been said that competition brings out the best in us. But I would add to that, it also can bring out the worst in us.
It can, yes. It can, but then that's where the fights come from, and that's where the people who aren't mature enough to handle it. And that's a cruel thing to say sometimes, but the folks who fight at these games are not mature. They're not intelligent enough. When you're screaming obscenities, you're just out of words. You have no intelligence to carry on a conversation, and it shouldn't lead to that. It shouldn't lead to fist fights. It shouldn't lead to throwing things. It shouldn't lead to going out and cutting someone's tires. That's a lack of intelligence and a lack of self-control and a lack of God. People do that, and I've never understood it. I've become upset, during ball games, not as a fan so much, but as a player. Football is emotional. You get fired up, but I've never gotten fights, stuff like that. But you get words get exchanged and things like that. But you don't. They shouldn't resort to violence. And what's always funny is in football games, when fights, what do people do? The first thing they do, what do players do? They take their helmet off. Oh, that's the dumbest thing to do. Holy cow. So never understood that. A lot of these men who play professional football, a lot of folks don't realize this, are highly intelligent, especially the men up front, the linemen. They are smart guys.
Yeah.
And high IQs, but they always take that helmet off.
Yeah.
And that's the dumbest thing to do right there. So,
well, what people may not realize is part of the. You gotta be careful how I say this. One of the things that you can do, let's just call it intimidation, but one of the tactics, strategies that we would employ is to intimidate verbally players on the other team in an attempt to get them angry.
yes.
Now, this was not to start a fight, by no means was that, but if you can rattle their cage in their head and take their focus off of their play. I have seen the best example of this I've seen is on the sidelines when I would be on the chain gang.
Yeah.
A ref would make a bad call, Dale. It happens. I mean, it really does.
It happens. They make mistakes too.
And the coach would just get so angry and go ballistic. I saw it happen over and over and over. At that point, they are no longer coaching a football team.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, they're setting a terrible example for our young men on the side, but they have taken their focus off of winning the game to now prosecuting a personal vendetta against a referee. Well, anyway, so part of the strategy is to hurl insults at the opposing player. Call him, it's bad, okay? But now bear in mind, insults get hurled at me too. But the idea is to get your mind off the game. It by no means is that intended to be personal. I didn't even know the person I was insulting, nor did they know me. And there was no intent to start a fight. When some of the things that you just talked about, slashing tires, getting in fist fights, folks, that is portraying your team in the worst of terms. That gives your team a bad name. And there's a few people out there that can give an entire team a bad name. And if you don't think that's true, read the headlines. We have an entire movement against the police because of a few bad actors.
Yeah, and that goes well. You can apply that same thing, philosophy, to the church too. A couple of bad folks give a reputation. I mean, I know there was several years ago there was a bad rap on TV evangelists because a lot of them were messing up, and that does happen. So you don't put your stock in men ever, but that does happen too. There's dissension and there's undesirable aspects happen in the church, but you can't let that affect you, and you just have to keep going. And if you mess up, the best thing to do is just say, "Hey, I screwed up. I'm sorry," and just go on. Take your licks and go on. That's just part of it too. So I mean, you hear sometimes people attack each other. Somebody goes up to the altar and they say, "Oh, that person will never make it." That stuff's not necessary. You need to help them and encourage them and give them some of my books to help them along the way.
Yeah, statements like "they'll never make it." That if you truly believe that, why do you worship this God that's so small, that can't help the addict, that can't help the prostitute, that can't help the? I mean, Jesus hung around IRS agents and prostitutes. Yeah. No, God is so big, He can do it. The verse, the scripture text you use is "iron sharpens iron." In your book, and I have never thought of that. I've used that verse in a lot of contexts, but I've never thought of it in terms of competition.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys. There's been a lot of athletes tell me that's their favorite verse because, for them to get better, they have to be around good people too, and you need somebody to hold you accountable. And in competition as well. I mean, if somebody's up there doing something great, you want to do it too. Hang around that person. If somebody's going out in visitations and praying with people and giving good reports, you might want to say, "Hey, I might want to hang out with this person for a bit because maybe they'll sharpen me a little bit, and maybe I can sharpen them." So it's all about competition, good competition, and how to be better. That's why I like talking with a lot of my writer friends because they help me. I see things and they encourage me too. So, and I need that. We all need it. So help each other out, encourage one another. I try to share as many tweets and posts that I see and Facebook posts that I see. If I don't, I'm sorry. I'm trying to see them all, and if I see one of JD's tweets, oh, I haven't tweeted this. Here you go. So I make a point to do that, and I don't see everybody. So I think that's a way we can sharpen each other, is to share each other's posts. I try to do that on Facebook too, because that helps each other out.
It's called teamwork, and
Yeah.
I'm an advocate of teamwork.
Yeah.
And it does work, by the way. And a rising tide does, in fact, float all boats. So
Right.
be the water that rises the tide for someone else's boat.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of thought I'd blog about this, because obviously I do have 2 books coming out here on August 10th. We had some bigger things planned. I was going to have a busy few months, with Michigan last month, and now these 2 coming up here August 10th. But we're excited about it. We think it'll do well. Auburn Believer, Bama Believer. Release them on the same day, so hopefully there'll be a little rivalry there.
I was going to say it would have been a mistake to release one before the other. I can
Right.
assure you. You'd have been wrong either way.
Yeah, I mean, that was intentional. Obviously with the marketing, and we wanted to do it together. So.
On a personal note, Dell, I know that you had, as you said, bigger plans, but you've had a lot of time to spend with the grandkids.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. So we'll be over there Friday babysitting. So
sounds fun. Well, Dell, Bama Believer,
Auburn Believer,
Auburn Believer,
August 10th.
August the 10th. That is right around the corner. Pre-sales available on Amazon or anywhere like that?
Amazon right now, and also New Hope Publishers has it, or Iron Stream Media. You can pre-order there as well. So
I get their emails.
They did a great job. They did a great job on those covers. I mean, Iron Stream and New Hope did a fantastic job on those cover designs, and really, really thankful about that. And we're getting, on the Michigan book, we had a great conference call last week, and they're really doing, as they called them, our publisher called them, gangbusters. Sales are going gangbusters. So I don't know what that means, but no numbers. But for a publisher to say gangbusters is exciting.
Looking forward to good things to come. Dale, it's always good. You've always got it. And we appreciate you taking your time to share with us. And we enjoy your blogging at, I never put it up on the screen.
That's
Folks,
okay.
if you want to consume this, okay, every Tuesday, there's a brand new blog at delldidway.com. And you have heard from him in person right here. Del, we appreciate you sharing. We'll see you about this time next week. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thanks, everybody, for jumping on, too. I really appreciate
All right.
it.
Folks, that's what we used to do in football. No, wait, stop when the whistle blows. So, okay, I got to do that. Folks, pjnet.tv, another night we wrap it up. Boy, it's been great, and we appreciate all of you who take part in the pjnet.tv chat room. You are very special to pjnet.tv, but many of you are watching this on maybe YouTube or maybe Facebook or maybe Twitter, because we stream to all of those places and an ever-growing syndication of the pjnet.tv network. And we appreciate you taking your time to be a part of this, and we invite you to come join us in our live chat room at pjnet.tv. So we're going to sign it off for tonight. Before I leave, I would like and feel compelled as a matter of duty to ask you to ask yourself 2 very serious questions. The first one is this: what is the boldest thing you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And the second question is, how long ago was that? Folks, this isn't a game. This is real life. But we do need to win. And if we're going to win, we can never allow ourselves to be satisfied with either answer.